Hello, Canucks fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Canucks Conversation, delivered to you by the great folks at DoorDash.
Ding dong.
Use promo code CONVODD, capital C, capital D's, all one word, CONVODD. That will get you 25% off and free delivery on your first order with the DoorDash app. It does not get much better than that, folks. It just doesn't. My name is David Quadrelli. I'm joined, as always, by the man who built the place, Chris Faber. Our technical producer is Alex Szilard. This is the Canucks Conversation, and we're pleased to be joined today by head coach of the Abbotsford Canucks, Jeremy Colliton. All of our guests are brought to you by the great folks at Zephyr Epic over there.
Oh, let me show you something.
You can use promo code Hockey Season, capital H, capital S, all one word, Hockey Season. That will give you $5 off your order at zephyrepic.com. They've got you covered for all of your trading card needs. Check them out, ZEPHYR Epic, on all platforms, all the social medias. Go follow them. They support us. We'd like you to support them. Zephyr Epic. And Chris is about to show everybody a Pokemon card.
Hockey cards. They got the hockey cards there. They got the Pokemons. I got one myself. Boom. The first edition Machamp.
Wow.
Shiny Machamp. Oh, it's a good. Nothing does it like the old Pokemon art. Like, nothing does it for me.
When did you, and it shows the illustrator on the bottom too. Why don't you go ahead and give his name a read? When did you, as you look for the name, when did you start getting into collecting Pokemon cards? Because I feel like I've known you for a while now. I feel like I woke up one day and all of a sudden you were throwing Pokemon cards at me.
Ken Sugimori is the name of the illustrator here.
Nice.
I've always wanted to collect the base set of Pokemon cards. And shout out to Arash Pamarzadeh from Pucks on Net. He's got it framed. All 151 original Pokemon. Big thing framed.
That's pretty sweet.
So then I started looking online. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just buy the whole frame set. It's like $3,000. So I was like, no, I'll just chip away.
Attaboy.
It's like an investment. I tried the whole crypto thing last year. That didn't work out great. So now we're back in a different, a good investment. So I'm rolling with the Pokemon cards.
You know,
instead.
all those commercials that are like, don't take investment advice from this guy, or it's like the Scotiabank commercials right now that are on.
Mm-hmm.
You could be the poster boy for that, because there's a guy in those commercials that says, you heard about NFTs, you heard about crypto, you heard about Nikita Triamkin rookie cards, Jack Rathbone rookie cards. Okay, before we get to the hockey stuff, the chat was bumping early today. Canuckle had jumped in very early and said, listen to yesterday's Canucks talk. Drance was talking smack about his Mario Kart 8 skills. Quads, if you need a ringer, let me know. Now, I've played...
Was he talking smack about you?
I don't know. The chat is kind of hinting at that.
Yeah.
Okay. I've played against Drance many a times. And I might have to get Aaron to clip this so that I make sure Drance sees this on Twitter. But I go toe-to-toe with Drance every time. And there's been times that I've beaten him. I don't think the sample size is large enough to say who's the better Mario Kart player. We've traded blows many times. And there's been a few times where Drance will set up the game. And there's a bunch of us in a lobby. And him and I are at the top. I'm ready to play 4 races because that's customary. And then Drance say, oh, no, sorry, I made this one 8, or I made this one 32. Better stick around, Quads. And then he's the only person that finishes all 32, so he gets to pat himself on the back that he won. I don't know. And maybe this is libel, because I'm not sure if any of that's actually happened. But I'm telling you, Drance pulls off some tricky stuff when it comes to his Mario
Kevin's
Kart
in the
game.
chat. Kevin says that Drance claims he's undefeated against you, and then he says he always wins, was the quote that Canuckle had through.
That is unbelievable. Okay, that's just not true. I've beaten Drance before, and I think I have a photo of it. And if I don't, I'll make sure I take one next time.
No, I think I've heard you talk about beating him, because I've heard I've heard Drance talk about being the best at Mario Kart. Taking 40,000 steps a day.
Obviously, I've beat him in single races, but I think I've also beaten him in cups a few times.
Oh.
Maybe not a few times. I think it might be a couple. We haven't played that much. I don't know where he's getting this from, but every time we play, it's him and I at the top, like every time. And hey, people are asking who we use. Worst kept secret, we both use Donkey Kong. And you know what? Usually in these lobbies, we're the only ones that use Donkey Kong, and Drance and I are the people at the top every single time. So, I have all the respect in the world for Drance's abilities as a Mario Kart player. I wish he would show me the same respect, because I have beaten him before. And anyways, I'm done talking about this. Drance, it's out there. The challenge is out there. I mean, we're going to play soon. The new courses just dropped. We've been talking about it for a while. So we're going to dig into those soon.
Yeah, well, you're a natural gamer, aren't you? Like, when you and I played FIFA, you're like, oh, I haven't played in like 4 years, and I play every night. And yeah, it was a tight game. So I feel like you got that natural gaming trend.
I grew up playing video games, and I've always been decent at every game, but I never really excelled at any game. When I was like 16 or 17, whenever NHL 17 was out with Tarasenko on the cover, that was the game that I was really good at. Like my ultimate team in that year, like I was really high up. I was consistently Div 1 champ. I was really good at that game. That was probably the only video game that I've played that I've gotten really, really good at, where I'm like really trying hard at it.
I was always a really good support player. Like I'd be in back in the day before this whole Warzone stuff took over the world, Call of Duty, when you actually just play like 6-on-6 teams.
Yeah.
I would be the midfielder. We'd play 2 forwards, 2 mid, 2 defenders, and we play capture the flag.
Nice.
Same group of 6 dudes every night after school. And I was a support player. You know what? Where I was at my best in video games was in the chat. That's where I'd light people up in the chat. I'm glad those clips don't.
Yeah,
ever
I was gonna
surface.
say, I'm like, okay.
2009, me, like a 16-year-old me, just yelling at everyone. Some dad just finished like a 12-hour shift at the mill, and I'm just giving it to him as a 16-year-old.
Oh,
we used to finish that, and we'd play All I Do Is Win, stick it right into your Xbox mic, and just play like DJ Khaled, and it would just blast All I Do Is Win from like 6 different mics. All these teenage kids. We used to piss a lot of people off.
I think I would have hated
in that lobby.
You.
All right, let's get to the Canucks. Pull it up, Alex. Speaking of DJ Khaled, actually, another win for the Vancouver Canucks last night. Overtime, and another Pettersson overtime winner. How about what he's doing in overtime right now? There was a time in that early in the overtime, I think Pettersson's first shift out there, I thought he was going to score the exact same goal. He almost put his head down and went straight to the nets, almost scored the exact same goal. But it comes down and setting up that Pettersson overtime winner was a good first save from Spencer Martin, but a very aggressive go at the second shot on that sequence there. And he made that's an aggressive move. That's a win or loss save right there from Spencer Martin. Yep. He makes it, ends up sending it down. Andrei Kuzmenko. Yeah, Andrei Kuzmenko's down the ice with Elias Pettersson, gets enough time, and Pettersson's got that hot stick right now, right? The shot's really clicking for him. He made no mistake in that one. So great little 2-on-1 to win that game. But let's get started with the first period, because, man, I had to measure. I don't do this often, but measuring a dog rating in the first period, Dakota Joshua's dog rating was off the charts. He ends up taking home the belt last night. You pull that up too. Oh, look at that. And he's got so much dog in him. He flips the belt upside down with no care for the respect behind the belt. He flips it upside down, the logo.
Like the Miz.
Oh, yeah.
I know WWE.
Yeah, exactly. Like Dakota Joshua had a great game, has 2 goals in that first period, drops the gloves. And it's funny even hearing him talk about it. Like I hear it from him in the locker room. I saw it last night on Twitter with the media availability. I still feel like Dakota Joshua like has something to prove that he's an NHLer. I think like he feeds off of that. Even some like hearing some of the quotes from him yesterday, he still wants to like prove that he belongs at this level, but he's done nothing but that so far this season. Like he's been incredible. He's looked like a great 4th line addition to this Vancouver Canucks team. And I was dogging him in the offseason, saying I don't know what all these analytics folks are talking about. Now I'm riding with the analytics folks. I tell you, he's looking great. Like he fits really good in that line. Loved the line that he talked about as well when Niels Amon took that hit, and he's just like, listen, that's a young kid in the league, and you got to show him that your teammates got your back. Like Joshua was one of those players that we've talked about so much on this show, of just like helping you transition and still being somewhat of an exciting team when maybe you are going to start going through a transition.
That's right.
He's looked great. Like he really has looked great in the role that he's been in with this team. And even last night, like you see him on the second power play as a net front guy. And I think that's because of his play at 5-on-5, where he looks good in front of the net. And he does a really good job of just funneling those pucks towards the crease. And that's something you haven't seen in Vancouver in a long time, seeing a 4th line that you could be pretty damn excited about.
And hey, excited about, and that
maybe last year's 4th line though too, for a little bit there.
The head coach can play on a regular basis. You look at that ice time, nobody over 20 minutes. JT Miller not getting any time in overtime. Like, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, let's start there.
Look, it's an off day for the team today. No practice. We didn't talk to Bruce. We didn't talk to any players. Recording this on Thursday. You'll have an answer tomorrow when you record with Harmon, and I'll be interested to see it. But JT Miller.
You gonna be in the chat tomorrow?
We'll see. Probably
Maybe.
not.
Probably
JT Miller, no time in overtime. Had a 30-second shift to close out the third period. Don't think it was injury related. Again, like he had, I think it was 2 pretty bad giveaways with that. One of them for sure was one of those no-look passes that drive people mental. And I think they're starting to get to Bruce Boudreau a little bit as well. Again, we don't know for sure if it's injury related. We don't know what it's related to yet, but JT Miller not playing at all in overtime. And again, we've talked about the Miller overtime experience where anytime he's out there, he's either winning you the game or he's losing you the game. It's no in between.
He said it the other night. He said his quote about overtime was, "I hate it. It's stressful." Like JT Miller's not really the type. Like you have better options, I think, for 3-on-3 than JT Miller.
Is Brock Boeser and Connor Garland both got a shift over Miller?
Yeah.
Are they better options than Miller?
I think in overtime it's up. You're really up in the air, right? Because I tell you, like any little defensive mistake costs you immediately.
Yeah.
In overtime. Fair. And listen, I know you're going to get the opportunities with JT Miller to score, but he's probably like the 5th forward I would put out there. Like I'm going with Mikheyev first. I'm going with Boeser first. I'm going with Horvat. I'm going with Pettersson.
Pettersson's your 4th forward.
No, I'm going in reverse order.
I know. I'm talking
reverse order or something. Kuzmenko would like him out there as well. Like there is a lot more options, I think, than JT Miller up to that point. But he's probably 5th or 6th on the list of the guys that you put out there. So he's fine to get out there for one shift. And like maybe that's your boom or bust. That's your win or loss right there.
All right, Jeremy, do you hear Alex?
But like I think that when you watch JT Miller in overtime, there is a little bit kind of the worry about what he is doing. So I think that's why we didn't see him last night. There's enough other forwards that you can trust in that role.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, hey, you look up and down the lineup right now, and there wasn't a bad line for this Canucks team last night, right? Yep. And like again, they're back to 500. We're going to talk about it after we get to Colliton and have a nice chat with him, the Abbotsford Canucks head coach. But like the team is getting back to 500, and it's interesting the outlook for the rest of the season, right? Because you're kind of looking at it, and again, like I know there's people out there, and again, we'll talk about it more later, but there's a lot of people kind of pointing out that hey, they're winning against not the best teams out there, and they're not doing it really in commanding fashion.
In the end, you're finding a way to win, and you have to give them praise for that. 8-3 over the last 11 games. Like you don't love the goals for and goals against, really, with 44 goals for and 40 against over the last 11. But hey, in the start of the season, they couldn't find a way to win. You look over the last 11, they are finding a way to win. Yeah. So good little run for the Vancouver Canucks. Speaking of good little runs for Canucks, the Abbotsford Canucks are up to doing some winning on their own. A 4-game win streak for the Abbotsford Canucks right now. And we're happy to be joined by Abbotsford Canucks head coach Jeremy Colliton. Jeremy, how you doing today?
Doing great. How are you guys?
Doing awesome. It's got to be some good vibes around the organization right now. Everything going on in Vancouver with a lot of winning. What you guys are doing down in Abbotsford, what's been working for you over this 4-game win streak here?
Well, we're improving. I think we're trying to building as the year goes on, and it's nice. It helps to get that positive reinforcement with some good results, both for the team and then also for guys individually, and just kind of you try to use that momentum and good feelings to keep building, keep teaching, and I think for us, like it's certainly nice to see the streak 4 wins, but it's kind of over now, and we had a good week, and we're focused on this weekend. It's a really good team coming in. It'll be a good test for us. We're going to have to play better than we did on the weekend. I thought the last 4 games, that the first 2 against Bakersfield, I thought were excellent. The weekend, like it was strange games with so many penalties and really disrupted the flow. It was tough to get everyone on the ice, honestly, with how much special teams there was. And I just didn't think we were quite as sharp, but found a way to get 2 wins. But now I think we really got to sharpen our focus for the weekend, and that's been the message.
It's got to be good for the confidence of the players to put on a 4-game win streak here up to this point. But I got to imagine, like the way the AHL season works, where sometimes you're playing just a ridiculous amount of games in 1 week, getting a chance for like a Monday to Thursday day out, like practice days for you as a coach, that must be a good spot kind of for you heading into this weekend. You must be feeling pretty good about the things you guys worked on this week.
Yeah, you really got to take advantage when you get the chance. We had a stretch where we played a ton of games, had a lot of travel, which obviously limited our practice time. So we were ready for a week like this. Having said that, we also needed to give them some rest. So a day off after the games on the weekend, and then yesterday we actually had a bit of a lighter day. We still brought them in and went on the ice, but it was a short practice. We did some special teams and 3-on-3, and then we did some more so of a video day, and we because we got to keep our guys fresh too. It is a lot of games sometimes, and so but hopefully we've done that, and I like the week we had, and now we got to continue to improve here, show that we're going the right way again.
Christian Wolanin's getting talked about a lot up here. We've seen the points, we've seen his success this year. What have you made of his game this season?
Yeah, I mean, credit to him. He's, I think, he had a good camp, and then anytime you get sent down after that, it can take some time to just get your head around your situation. And I think he's gotten stronger here, every day, sort of for the last, month, 6 weeks. He's done a really good job on the power play. Not, just distributing, helping us change sides. He's done a good job on the breakout. He's gotten pucks through from the top, and a lot of his production has come there. But I think that's really helped his confidence 5-on-5 too. He's made some plays. He's starting to kill penalties for us. I think the challenge always is for a guy like him, like, the game, the role that he plays here is maybe not the one that's available up there. So, and that's something we've talked to him about, is just, he's got to focus on how he defends, focus on his habits, focus on those details that will help him if he does get a chance in the next level, help him to survive, help him to be a guy that can be put on the ice in when the game's still on the line. So, but I think he's made some really nice strides there.
I think you brought up the player just kind of hopping onto the penalty kill there. And I know Christian kind of mentioned he's done a tiny bit of that in the past, but it's something where it looks like he's had a decent amount of success this year. And I think a lot of Canucks fans ask, specifically with the AHL, over the past couple of years, people have looked at Will Lockwood or Jack Rathbone's stint last year, and they're thinking like, oh, this guy should be playing on the power play, on the penalty kill, getting all this time. How do you as a coach kind of, like, do you approach a player and say, is the penalty kill something you want to try? Do they come to you? How do you kind of make that decision for a player to, take on another role with the team?
Yeah, you do. And because there's some preparation that's required to be ready to do that. But Colson's a good example. Like, we want to get him killing penalties. But, when he gets here on a Tuesday, it's hard to have him killing that night. It takes some time for him to kind of understand what we're trying to do, and just even get comfortable, even with the guys he's going to be on the ice with. So you kind of feed it to him piecemeal. I think he played a little 6-on-4 actually in the first couple of games there, and we got him out at the end a couple of times. And then this weekend he got a little bit more, and lots of video, and then getting this week, actually, we used it as a chance to get him some extra reps, both yesterday and the day before. And then hopefully we can just, keep giving him a little bit more, and he can gain confidence. At the same time, like, I don't think it's a situation where you throw him out in the first pair, so he's got to play against the top unit on the other side. That's not really fair when you're trying to gain confidence. And so you maybe try to get him out against the second unit at the end of the kill. And I think that's the same. It's kind of the same process for all these guys when you're exposing them to different situations at our level, because ultimately we're still trying to have team success, because that builds confidence, that builds habits. And so, we got to put all those pieces together.
Jeremy, you might be getting tired of me asking about him, but I'm going to ask you about him today. I'm going to ask you about him tomorrow when I see you as well. With Danila Klimovich and the development there, the 19-year-old kid, obviously there's a lot of skills here. I'm wondering, like, how much do you take on of a challenge of developing this guy? Because he's such a young player. He's got those just amazing skills. How do you look at just development with a player who has those raw traits? Like, is this a challenge for you to just get the best out of him?
I'm not tired of talking about him. I think it's more just, we have to have a long-term time horizon on it, though. Like, I think that the issue sometimes is when little things that happen become magnified. It's a process. Like, he's young, and there's going to be ups and downs, and sometimes the downtime where things don't look like it's working, and there's adversity and it's hard, like, that's sometimes the most important time. Like, it needs to happen. It needs to get hard. There needs to be adversity, and then you got to fight through it and respond the right way. And it's up to us. We're trying to help him through that. And so I got to give him a ton of credit, because when he's had to sit out or hasn't played in certain situations because of, we're trying to establish a standard of how we want to play, you can go one of two ways. You can look outward and look to blame others, or you can respond. And I think his last couple weeks is the best I've seen, certainly as far as his work ethic and his compete level with and without the puck. He's done a really good job, and so that really helps too. Is when they respond to that feedback and give you something back, now I have something to show them as far as, okay, this is the standard. I've seen you do it once. Now you need to do it again. And so that's great. But going through that adversity and not quitting, keep going. That builds a base that he can fall back on. And again, there's going to be more. There's going to be more time where there's a setback or whatever, and that's just part of his development. Everyone goes through it, and the guys that come out the other side, those are the ones that can make it.
Yeah, and I think you don't see a lot of teenagers in the AHL. This is an incredible task that's being asked of him for what he's going to do here. I'm curious because you mentioned, like, when I talked to you last week post game, you mentioned that those were probably the two best games you've seen from him. I also noticed those are the games where the emotion doesn't get the best of him, because I think that's something that has gotten to him at certain times throughout his young AHL career. How do you manage that? Because you want him to be emotionally invested, but it feels like sometimes the emotion might be able to just get a little bit too much of him at times.
Yeah, those are lessons that you need to learn. Body language when your teammate doesn't get you the puck when you feel like you should get it. When you personally make a mistake, your reaction to that situation. I mean, you got to love emotion. Emotion is a lot of what drives us in this game. The love of the game and the desire to be the best and to, you want to test yourself, but you got to channel it in the right way. I want to see that emotion when it comes time to win a 50-50 battle to get a puck out when the game's on the line. That's what we need. And so that's the challenge. And if we can create an environment where he has the opportunity to do that and then get feedback on it, then that's when you start building something.
We've talked about life in the AHL, and you lose Sheldon Dries to a call-up, but then you get sent Vasily Podkolzin and Jack Rathbone. Obviously we've seen the deployment of these guys, and you're obviously happy to have them, but how do you kind of manage that where, they're taking someone else's spot type thing, and your lineup seems to always be changing? How do you kind of manage the ever-changing life in the AHL?
Yeah, it is a challenge. We've been carrying a lot of bodies, and I think, we like the players we have. We like the guys that are, on American League deals who can provide depth for us. And there's been times where we need them because we're thin, and you need guys who can step in and make a difference. And there's got to be justice for those guys, so that if they deserve to play, they got to play. Otherwise, you erode the team dynamic. You erode the team culture that we're trying to build. And but when we do that at the same time, making sure that maybe the younger players who we hope can play at the next level continue to get opportunity to prove themselves, to develop, to make mistakes and get the feedback, and then have a chance to respond and go back out there. So it is a challenge. Ultimately, it's gotta be an environment where you earn what you get. And some guys get a little more rope because obviously we feel like they can play at a higher level and hopefully make an impact in the NHL. But in the end, we still have a team here, and if you're playing for the team and you're doing the details that the team needs to help us win, then that helps you get more shifts.
We've heard a lot about him from people up here, but what's your impression of Vasily Podkolzin as a person and as a player?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just getting to know him. Obviously, training camp didn't really have a ton of didn't cross paths a ton. So that this past week has been when I've been exposed to him. He's been great so far, whether it's watching shifts with him and going through, helping him get comfortable with what we're trying to do and how we're playing. But I mean, he's very competitive. He plays a detailed game. He's strong on the puck. He's willing to take the puck inside. He's willing to pay the price. I mean, he's blocked a ton of shots, whether it was 6-on-4 or on the kill. He's willing. And so it's just a matter of building confidence and building those habits. He's still a kid, and it takes time. It takes reps. So he's done a good job so far, but I expect him to continue to build his game and blossom even further here the longer it goes.
It feels like sometimes for a goaltending situation in the AHL, when somebody gets called up, it can really shake an AHL team. But I'm guessing you feel pretty confident about running with Archer Sealaws for a little bit here with Colin being up with the NHL team. I mean, the kid's 21 years old. I still remember chatting with you after he got that first shutout over at the prospects camp out in Penticton. But from what you see from this kid, I mean, still so young, but he's going to get a big run here. So how confident are you, with him between the pipes for the next few weeks here?
Yeah, it's a process with him too. He doesn't have a ton of pro games, and so there's going to be ups and downs. But early on, we kind of we split it for the most part. It maybe already got a little more early, and then Deals had a good run. But there's always a time during the season where you end up losing someone, and so then there's the opportunity for one guy to run with it. And it's not to say that we won't play Jake, depending on the schedule, but it is an opportunity for Artie to play a little bit more, and a lot of times that's when you really take off as a player. So we're excited to see how he does. He had the back-to-back last weekend. Thought his second game was actually probably one of his best of the year, and we'll see about this weekend, but hopefully he grabs hold of it and really runs with it. But again, if it doesn't happen right away, that's not like, it's just another step in his development. We can't overreact to small things that happen. We're going to keep challenging guys and keep giving them feedback and expecting them to respond, but you can't really roadmap it out where it's just a straight line to where you want to get to.
Okay. I got to ask about the straight line from the Calgary Mustangs to Mora, because I always get you in postgame. I never get a chance to ask about this. It'd be a weird one to ask you in a postgame. But how the hell do you go from the AJHL to Hockey Allsvenskan, Jeremy? Like, talk us through that straight line, because I'm super curious to see how that played out.
Yeah, well, it's probably need a different, longer podcast. But I mean, I was still trying to play. That's really the bottom line. I'd been to Sweden and back, and played a bunch of NHL games the one year, and then my last year in the American League, I had 2 concussions in about a couple of months, and ended up, just didn't get better. Ended up being out for almost a year. Took almost a year off. So during the year I was not playing, I was still trying to play. I was still trying to come back, and so I had a friend who was coaching a Tier 2 team, and originally just was potentially somewhere for me to skate as I was getting back in shape and getting ready to play, but I just never got better. So I ended up coaching and helping there. And as the year went on, it became clear I wasn't probably going to play immediately anyway. Took on more responsibility, and it was a great experience. The next year I did go to play. I went to Sweden to play, and lasted 3 games or 2 games, played the preseason, and then I think the second game I got another concussion, and tried to get back, tried to play, still wasn't ready to be done. But at some point, after you've just taken a year off, you get another concussion, and then that doesn't seem to be clearing up. The writing was kind of on the wall for me, and during that time not playing, I'd been thinking about what was potentially next, and coaching was certainly something I was interested in. And I was going to go home because I wasn't going to play, and kind of made a deal with the team with my contract. But just before I was getting ready to go back, they ended up firing the coach and GM, and I'm not sure, it wasn't really set out what the next step was. So they asked me if I would step in interim, and it was a great opportunity. And I felt confident just because I'd had that experience in Tier 2, and I stepped in and it went pretty well, and ended up being there 4 years. And my last year, we won the league and got promoted to the top league, beat out a team from the top league to go up, and then that was when I went to Rockford after that.
It just seems wild because that's like 2014. This isn't like the 80s where a player just like goes from that. Like, so you must have like had the idea that you wanted to coach. You kind of mentioned it there. Like, was that something throughout your playing career? Like, coaching was always going to be that route, do you think?
Yeah, I always paid attention. I always was interested in what we were doing and why we were doing it. And sometimes that can be a pain for a coach. But I've had some coaches who were willing to humor me and have those conversations. And you just you try to take something from every coach you've had. And then at the end, I probably, especially when I was having trouble, I didn't feel like I had the career playing wise that I should have had based on the player I was as a junior and coming in as a prospect. And there's lots of reasons for that, whether it's injuries or circumstances. And I didn't feel like I got what I wanted out of the game, and I wasn't done. So there's different routes you can go. Coaching is one of them. And so I was working at it and thinking ahead for if I ever got the chance, what was important to me, what I think about the game, how I want to run the team. And so I was kind of ready in that way. I had some ideas that I felt like were important. I was ready to implement them right away.
Awesome. Well, maybe we'll have you on again and finish this story or go on with it or something. But Jeremy, appreciate you joining us here and take some time out of your day. You got Manitoba on Friday and Saturday out there at the Abbotsford Center. We'll see you on Friday, and I'll have some new Klimovich questions ready for you then.
I'm ready. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Jeremy. There he is, head coach of the Abbotsford Canucks, Jeremy Colliton, joining us there. I mean, from Calgary off to Allsvenskan, there had to be more of a story. They could have probably done 15 minutes about the story at least.
He'll come fill in as a co-host next Friday.
Yeah, we'll see once Harman's rate goes up again. And it might be here for a long time moving forward.
Yeah.
Any takeaways from the young players? I found some interesting
the
comments.
chat was very excited about what he was saying because there was talk of long-term kind of, planning with players. And I think, you know what? Like watching Danila Klimovich and reading about him a lot personally, like I read about him more than I watch him. The whole, and obviously he doesn't want to tank a player's confidence or anything. So he's not going to come out and say like, yeah, he needs to get his anger in check, but he kind of hinted at it and we can see it. Like this isn't to try to infer what Colliton was talking about, but we can see it with Klimovich that, things that, like you even mentioned it, like getting hit cleanly and then spinning around and swinging your stick at the guy.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You can't do that. It's not going to happen. You can't be that emotional when you're playing hockey. It's not something that can happen. And again, like, there's a fine line of keeping it in check and using it to motivate you. But again, if teams know they can just get under your skin by hitting you cleanly, like you have to be tougher than that. You have to be. And again,
that's hard to coach out because you have to imagine the way that Danila Klimovich like grew up playing in the Belarusian league. That's not what it's like in junior hockey in Canada. Like it's a very different league. It's probably run a lot different. I think I didn't get a chance to ask this, but you've seen some of the best games of Klimovich's career when Podkolzin's there now. And I wonder if there's something there between just the connection those two players have. Obviously Podkolzin, I feel like likes to be a leader in that situation. Hasn't really had the opportunity at the NHL level, but I look at Klimovich and I say like this is a really good spot, not only for building confidence for Podkolzin from scoring goals and playing top minutes and getting time on both the PK and the penalty kill or the penalty kill and the power play, but also like getting a chance to be a leader again. Because I feel like someone like Klimovich, how would they not look up to Vasily Podkolzin, right? He has to be one of the players that he watched, back when he was 16 years old, watching what Podkolzin was doing as an 18-year-old at the World Juniors. Like this is a guy that he has to look up to, and to now have him on your team, I think it does help kind of change some of the ways that you manage your emotions, specifically watching the way that Podkolzin does.
Yeah.
Right. Because listen, Podkolzin will stick up for his teammates, but he's not going to go out of the way. You see like the after whistle scrums, Podkolzin's normally the guy like pulling a body off, like settling everyone down. But when push comes to shove, he will stick up for his guy. And I think that's something that, Klimovich can learn a lot from. It's just the way that Podkolzin manages his emotions in a game.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see it with Podkolzin, right? And I know his wife would have something to say about that because he dropped the gloves with AJ Greer and, took the worst of it. But yeah, you're right. Like there is, and I kind of regret not asking Colliton about that, about like if he's noticed.
I think we'll have him on again. That was great. I think we'll do that.
Great
again.
interview. The people in the chat really liked it. Again, all of our guests brought to you by the great folks at Zephyr Epic. Use promo code Hockey Season, capital H, capital S, all one word. Our thanks again to Jeremy Colliton.
Before we go any further here, know what I noticed when I was doing the interview there? My energy drink today matches my hat.
It does.
The same color, the same trim on the top there for my headset matches my energy drink today. We got red berry, Swedish. What are these called? No, the Sour Patch Kids. The Sour Patch Kids. Yeah, we got that going. And thank you, Alex. Alex is on it today. I was gonna say off the top of the show, I didn't get a chance to, but Alex, I've never heard him so happy this morning in the pre-show. He was in great mood. Best mood I've ever heard Alex in today. So I know he's up to it. And look at that.
The chat's in a great mood too.
Good.
Alex can take a look at that. And yeah. Okay. Let's move on here. Yeah.
Your friends are here, Quads.
Yeah. Chat's in a really good mood today. Okay. Let's get to Horvat's Haul. You've titled it. I don't look at the show notes, but I have a feeling I know what we're going to talk about. Bo Horvat, Elliot Friedman reporting today.
Forget Friedman.
In his 32 thoughts.
Frank Seravalli.
Okay, well, Seravalli too. Everybody's reporting stuff on Horvat. It's hot on Horvat, and it ain't great.
I haven't seen Friedman on this show, so I'd rather talk about Frank stuff.
Well, anyways, what I'm saying is, no matter who you talk to, no matter who you read, it's not looking great for the Canucks re-signing Horvat right now, but you don't want to talk in any sort of absolutes because, hey, we were saying the same thing about JT Miller, so I don't want to spend too much time talking about this, but it's not a surprise. The Canucks cannot, and I don't mean the Canucks cannot afford cap-wise. I mean the Canucks cannot afford, with where they're at as a team, to give Horvat an 8-year contract at $8.5 million.
Or to give him up for nothing. They can't do either of those.
Exactly. And that's the big point is you have to trade Bo Horvat if you're not going to be able to get him at a cap hit you're comfortable with. Seravalli was reporting that he has it on good authority that there's a team that will give Horvat $9 million in free agency and that they view him as the next Ryan O'Reilly.
Yeah. So what his Freeman, I have reason to believe, this is from Seravalli. I have reason to believe that one team out there is willing to pay Bo Horvat a number that starts with a 9. And he said, all it takes is one, because all it takes is one of these teams to go out there paying $9 million. Yep. And then maybe it brings other teams up to that number, right? So like the Canucks can't do that.
Columbus.
He also said the deal that Horvat was offered by the Canucks, 8 years at $5.125
hang on a sec.
In the offseason, right?
He reported this a while ago. It's the Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. They started there, and apparently this is a report from Seravalli, right?
Yeah.
I believe Seravalli mentioned this, that apparently that might have pissed off Horvat a little bit.
Probably, yeah.
That they lowballed him like that. And yeah, like
I'll tell you what, pissed off Horvat's pretty damn good at scoring goals.
You just saw Aaron Judge turn down $300 million before the season starts from the Yankees, right? And then he bets on himself, goes out and hits 60, gets an extra $1 million per homer that he hit, basically.
Did he sign? I think I missed this. Did he sign?
Yes. He signed.
Okay.
I texted you about it.
I just don't. I read
$360 million for Aaron Judge.
For what, 2 years?
2 years. No, I believe it was an 11-year. And someone
That's
in the chat jumped in.
I thought he was going to bump up near half a billion.
My Padres got Xander Bogaerts.
Oh, really? Good for your Pods.
Yeah.
What do you call them? Pads?
No.
Padres?
The Padres.
What's a short version for him?
Huh?
What's like a shorter version for him? Anything cool, hip, and
there's a few, but none of them are short.
Oh, you can't say them on the show. Family show.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyways, we're not going to talk baseball. We're not talking Padres.
No,
anyway.
We'll save the Friedman stuff from 32 Thoughts for tomorrow.
Sure.
Because I do want to quickly do a little touch on some of the prospect stuff that we saw today. Because I got video, baby. But yeah, Friedman had some interesting things about Boeser and Horvat in his 32 Thoughts this morning. Be sure to check that out. The Sportsnet thing there.
We'll check out Daily Faceoff.
Get that out of here, Alex. Save it for tomorrow. Now, thank you, Alex.
Check out Daily Faceoff.
Daily Faceoff's got the good stuff there anyways. Yeah. Okay, let's get to Elias Pettersson's goal prospects report here. DPD, hey, his 40th SHL game today, Quads. You don't care. You're out of it already. You're already on TikTok.
Well, I read your I'm reading the chat. People are talking about the Padres now. So
okay, no Padres, no. 40th game of Elias Pettersson DPD's career today. And he scored a goal. He scored his first SHL goal. Get it up, Alex. Pull me up. Full screen. Here he is. Elias Pettersson gets some space in the slot. Fires a shot. A little Bob Orr-esque almost. He slips a little bit and falls over. That's now what's going on. The green screen's behind the ice again here. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, well here it is. Elias Pettersson scored his first goal. Really good. Also had a season high, a career high, I should say, in ice time. He's been playing a lot this week. I've talked about it over the past few days here. Elias Pettersson like averaging about 1440 over his last 3 games. There it is. Canucks combo. We got a free ad on the back there.
People want to complain about the board ads on TV on the NHL broadcast. Look at these SHL ones.
Hold on. Did you see what happened?
They're not even lined up. Look at the one behind the net. You see that? The Canuck Magnus. Yeah.
No, I didn't see that.
I don't speak Swedish, but you see what I'm talking about.
Look at this. Do you see this?
Well, I see we're getting
Canucks Conversation in the back of this one right there.
Getting some Canucks Convo board ads. And we have thrown around the idea before of getting a Canucks Army ad on a Allsvenskan team's jersey. This is the SHL, but look at those. Alec, get me a shot of that ad behind the glass. That is awful. It is just straight across.
We're doing our own digital ads now, guys.
Yeah. The guy in the yellow jacket is taking up some of it. And then on the right, same deal. Like, those look awful.
Hold on. Anyone on the YouTube, you see this child? Is it a child in full gold print?
Oh, wow.
Look at that. Or he looks like he's covered in peanut butter, maybe.
A young Elias Pettersson.
They love to just get covered in gold over there in Sweden.
But you remember Elias Pettersson doing that?
Well, yeah, that's what they say. You get the good play there. All right, get me out of there.
Oh, better close favors tabs.
And I got to do that to myself there. There we go. All right, that's all I got for the prospect report. Sweden's camp, they kick off on the 14th. I say it every damn show here, so they're going to be pretty close to getting to camp here as well. So good for them, and good for Pettersson. Took 40 SHL games, but he's got a goal. But most of those games were like 2 minutes of ice time, 50 seconds ice time, so don't really count that much. But hey, his last 4 games, he's playing about an average of 15 minutes a night. He set a career high tonight playing 15:23. He's man. He is climbing like no Canucks prospect is this season. He is absolutely climbing up the rankings. We'll have the rankings after the World Juniors, an updated one over at Canucks Army. But, whoo, man, I tell you, he might be pushing for number 1. The way that he's playing and just from watching him play, he really projects to potentially be an NHLer. I think maybe more than anybody right now this season for the Vancouver Canucks prospects. In my eyes, I saw he's 18 years old doing all this stuff too. Damn impressive, Petey. You might see 2 Petterssons in the Canucks lineup here pretty soon.
Okay, let's get to the Betway wrap up.
Oh, Betway. Here we go. I'm not going to do 30 again today. We're going to Betway. We got to talk about how much I get paid for each time I say Betway. Betway. Our bets of the day. I did it 2 ways here. So I'm betting on the same game, but 2 different things to happen. If you took my bet yesterday, boom, we hit on that big Pettersson Canucks win over 6.5 total goals. We hammered on that one. We're going to try and get another one today. So we got the Winnipeg Jets and the over of 5.5. You're getting that at 250. I go on Betway right before the show here. They saw my tweet. Canucks, it already dropped. It's down to plus 240 now. So you got to get in there quick because the Jets to win and the over 5.5 total goals, that feels like a good one. I think 10 of their last 12 games, the Jets have hit the over of 5.5 total goals, and in all of their last 12 games, a minimum of 5 goals scored. So there's a lot of goals in those games. Jets are playing good. They're winning a lot of hockey games right now. Blues are not. Their goaltending is just horrendous. Binnington sucks, and he's also not a very good goal either. The St. Louis Blues, I got them to win in the second one. Blues to win over 6.5 total goals, and Jordan Kyrou, who's been scoring a lot, I think 4 goals in his last 6 games. I forgot. I got to ask you these things. How many goals does Kyrou have on the season?
I don't know, man.
He's got 4 in his last 6. He's buzzing. Plus
how many
800
does he have on the
that
season.
Bet.
You didn't answer the question.
I don't know. He's got a few.
You don't know either.
Blues to win over 6.5 total goals. Jordan Kyrou to score in this game. There's our Betway bets of the day. Quads, your last minute here of the show this week. What's on the docket tomorrow? Which restaurant are you going to for caviar tomorrow?
I really want to check out Luz.
Oh, in Abbotsford?
Yeah.
No, you're not.
About it in the chat here.
Oh yeah, Luz is. I haven't seen the chat in a little bit here. Luz is the best.
People are talking about it. And we should have asked Colton
and Luz, both of them.
Yeah, I really want to get out there, check it out.
What's Jeff? He said he asked Buddy about Luz. He claims it's where they're going for business dinner. He thinks he was lying, but nonetheless, we were going there before Christmas.
This is a podcast. You can't read like that on a podcast.
What do you mean?
That's like the reading you do if you're half reading in your head and half like that's if you're reading to yourself. That is. The listener has to hear you read. You can't just skim through someone's message.
Well, people got the gist of it. Jeffro's going to Luz. Like I said, you go out there and they have it's like a spicy peanut wing. It's really good because you know that like peanut sauce from like Thai.
Oh yeah,
Thai food. It's that, but on a chicken wing. But I'm not eating chicken wings anymore. I'm off the wings actually.
Also, someone in the chat jumped in yesterday and said wings are better than nachos. Good take.
Last time I had a chicken wing, I chipped my tooth. My what's those ones in the back there that you're supposed to get out?
Wisdom teeth? You haven't had your wisdom teeth removed?
No, well, I half removed one the other day eating a chicken wing, so I haven't eaten that was like 2 months ago, and I haven't touched the damn thing since.
All right.
I've been scared
to drumsticks.
Yeah, well, I'm not doing either of those. Drumsticks, nothing. Maybe chicken thighs I might get, but I just haven't been eating things with bones. They scare me now.
Okay, we'll wrap it up there.
All right. Harmon Dial in tomorrow.
Yeah, Harmon Dial, the money himself. Harmon Dial joining us on the show tomorrow. For my co-host Chris Faber and our technical producer.
Well, Alex, he's having a good day. He's got enough shout outs today. Jeremy Colliton.
I was going to get to that. I say that every time.
No, I don't think
it's like
you were.
Your first time watching me host. Anyway,
as you go out here, people, check out this chocolate I got too. Hershey's Kisses, hot cocoa.
All right. Faber's mic's getting muted.
Hot cocoa. It's a marshmallow flavor. Pretty good. Not amazing. Okay, mute me. I'm done.
All right. For my co-host Chris Faber and our technical producer Alex Lard, our thanks again to Jeremy Colliton of the Abbotsford Canucks for joining us. My name is Dave Quadrelli. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Canucks Conversation.
Time for Christmas chocolate. Where's the Sky Train?
Thanks for listening to Canucks Conversation, delivered by DoorDash. Hit the subscribe button to never miss an episode.